Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to check out Ember, a game that supports 2 to 4 players, and it'll be launching on Kickstarter, or seeking funding through the Kickstarter process, sometime in July of 2015. That makes everything that you're about to see here subject to change. So what is Ember? Well, it's a card game, and each player will choose one of the 4 colored decks. And these decks are somewhat unique in the sense that each deck has its own personality, or card types, if you will. And your goal here is to collect as many Ember Stones as possible in order to vanquish the Dark Demon Lord. You don't actually see him in game, but just keep in the back of your mind that your ultimate goal here is to collect these Ember Stones. And the player with the most Ember Stones at the end of the game will win. So without further ado, let's take a quick look at the components and see how the game is played. Alright, now here's a very brief look at the components, but I have to stress here this is a prototype copy, and prototypes are not often reflective of the final product, at least in my experience. So here is the game manual here in 4 decks of cards, and like I said, each deck has unique card abilities on them that sort of define the way they are played. As far as how the different cards act, let's go ahead and take a quick look at one close up. In the upper left-hand corner is your mode. Basically, you can have one mode active at any one time, and that'll give you some sort of passive buff or allow you to do some type of passive ability that you normally wouldn't have. And you can switch out your modes on your turn, that kind of thing. You've also got your Ember Stone value here, which is what you're trying to collect in order to win the game at the end whenever everyone's Ember Stones are counted up. You've got the card name here, you've got the card effect here, and you've got flavor text down here. So the game itself is played over a series of turns, and each player turn has 5 phases. You've got the collection phase, the main phase, the draw phase, play phase, and the end phase. Now to keep the video moving, I am not going to cover all of the rules found in the manual. Instead, I'm going to simply opt to refer to this reference card here simply because it's convenient. So the first phase is the collection phase. If your Emberscape is full at the start of your turn, you must collect all of the cards in your Emberscape. Then flip over an arcane card and activate its effects. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, and again this is not actual gameplay, this is just for an example, but let's just say that I had 5 cards in my Emberscape here. And again, your mode is up here, we'll get to that in a minute. But because there are 5 cards in your Emberscape, we can collect all 5 and put them into my collection pile. Then we'll flip over one of the arcane cards and resolve its effects. This effect here, collect a card from your hand. Now the collect action simply allows you to take a card from your hand or anywhere and put it into your collection pile. This card specifically says collect a card from your hand. So we're going to take a look at our hand and pick one to put into that score pile. So this one has a value of 10. This Ember Stone value here. So we're going to go ahead and put that there just to guarantee us a lot of points at the end of the game. After that, you move on to the mode phase. Place a card on the top of your mode pile. Do not activate the card effects. Optional unless mode pile is empty. Now because the mode pile is currently empty, we have to put one up there. And the different modes have different abilities or different passive effects. For example, protection mode. Cards in your hand or Emberscape may not be stolen, destroyed, captured, or collected by opponents. Attack mode. Collect the cards from your Emberscape as soon as it is full. During your turn, rather than waiting until your next collection phase. Hasty mode, the cards in the Emberscape are collected during the collection phase when there are at least 3 cards in the Emberscape. The Emberscape will still hold up to 5 cards, and then you've got your greedy mode. Draw 2 cards instead of 1 during the draw phase. So the different modes have different passive abilities. So we're going to go ahead and choose one to simply put up here. Let's go ahead and just throw this up there. That is the attack mode as indicated by the sword there. The third phase is the draw phase. Here you just simply draw a card from your deck, put it into your hand, and that's it. 4. The play phase. Play 1 card from your hand. Follow all possible card effects. Okay. In case I didn't mention it, you do not resolve the card effects whenever you put a card into your mode pile. So again, phase 4, you're going to go ahead and choose a card to put into your Emberscape here and resolve its effects. So what do I want to do? I'll go ahead and play this one. This says to draw 2 cards, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now some cards like this one here, you see this little green arrow recycle symbol. This is sort of like a lasting effect. So as long as this card is out in your Emberscape, you'll be able to use its effects constantly until it is moved over into your collection pile, which is kind of convenient. After that, you've got your fifth and final phase, the end phase. If you have more than 9 cards, discard down to 9. If you have no cards, draw 2. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Players will continue taking turns until someone manages to flip all of the arcane cards on their side of the board, or whatever the case may be. The player that does that will resolve the card effect as appropriate, and the game will end. Players will then count how many Ember stones they have in their collection pile. The player with the highest wins the game. Alright, and there you have it, a very brief look at Ember. It's important to stress that I did not cover all of the rules found in the rulebook. This was just to give you a general overview so that you could see how the game is played and maybe even help you decide whether or not it's something that you'd like to support. Speaking of support, again, the game will be seeking funding through Kickstarter. I have a link in the below description so you can check out the game more there. I also have a link to my written preview, though you can find it at www.dadsgamingaddiction.com if it suits your fancy. So with that being said, this is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.